Upgrades.
All right. Welcome. That we are back. This is Jorge and Mike. We are doing episode 2 of The Legend of Vox Machina. This one's called The Trials of Vasselheim, and we literally just finished seeing it, so there is a lot to unpack. As always, please do remember this is a spoiler-filled, not a spoiler-free review. So if you haven't seen it, I would say pause it, watch it, come back, or if you just don't care, just keep watching, because either way, you're gonna have fun and you're gonna want to watch it again. So cool. So I guess initial reaction, Mike, what did you think of this episode?
Something that's really coming back to me on watching these episodes is just like how well paced out all of these episodes are. You've got a lot of good comedy in it. You've got a lot of good story stuff that progresses every character. And then you obviously get a little bit of action as well, even though maybe not as much as the dragon onslaught that happened in the first episode.
No, that is very true. I will say, I do like that everyone kind of gets their little time to shine. You know, as soon as this episode start, you get oh god, what's the Scandalin? You know, they end up falling, and instead of him using, you know, like a mage hand or just something simple to save people, he uses two big old boobies to catch people. So I don't know. I appreciate how they're giving everyone kind of like little bits and pieces, you know, of all this. So this episode basically kicks off exactly right where episode 1 left off. You know, they go in through the tree. Obviously, the tree that oh goodness, is it Killian? No, Keyleth, yeah. The tree that she found might have not been the 100% correct tree, as they fell quite a bit, but she made it very well known that, you know, she didn't know this tree. But they made it there, and you know, they kind of start walking towards it, which I think is kind of neat. I will say that poor bear just always gets the short end of the stick, man. Like,
Yeah.
dude always just gets left behind, which kind of stinks.
I find that is a common trope in D&D, is that people love the idea of having a pet or some kind of familiar, and more often than not, they will forget about that animal or creature. And so everyone's like, oh, yeah, the bear was there the entire time, or something like that. So them having to be like, yeah, the bear waits outside every time, that's always a good gag for me.
Yeah, no, that one, because I know that was last season. They did that a couple times too. So, and I thought it was funny how she kind of like even mimicked it, like before the guard even said anything. She was like, "Yeah, I know. Bear stays outside." Um, so they go and they end up meeting these, you know, obviously these. I guess would they be considered like like what are they considered, like priests or high priests?
Kind of like Vasselheim is it's like a holy city that kind of like what I think Pike says is that like you see every prime deity is represented within the temples of Vasselheim. So basically it's like the Vatican, but like for every religion in one place.
Yeah, I did find it super dope that, like, I guess I'll just call it like a water wall of vision. You know, where they just touch it like it. And I don't know if that's how it originally was kind of laid out, but just that visual was just super. It reminded me a lot almost of like Minority Report, where they would just, you know, like put a little ball somewhere and you can see what's happening. Um, Now, I guess in that scene, do they play a bigger role within this? Like, are they kind of the end all be all in the city per se, in terms of if they decide to help out or not help out? Because it I guess for me it felt weird that they went to that one instead of almost attacking like all the other little ones first and then going up to like the big one to ask for permission or whatnot.
It was definitely a big swing. It's very similar how back in Iman they have like that council
Yeah.
of different people. This is similar to that, yeah. So
Okay.
it's like kind of them. They're the higher ups in the city. I think they have a larger role in making decisions in the final arc of campaign 1. So I don't know necessarily if they'll play a bigger role in this arc against the Chroma Conclave.
Okay. Okay. No, that works out. And then I know as soon as they left that building, which we forgot to talk about in episode 1, but Vax ends up seeing, I guess, that witch, that black like
Yeah.
witch of some sort.
There's like a
Um
masked lady that looks very mysterious and wispy as she like kind of well, in the first episode she's just kind of like walking amongst the carnage and all the people dying. And
yeah.
then in this episode you see her kind of like on the roof of on the roof of one of the temples. And you don't really get a lot of information as to who or what that is just yet. But she is very integral to Vax or Vaxeldon's character moving forward.
Okay. All right.
And
So
so I love the way that they're seeding it because Liam O'Brien, the player that plays Vax in the campaign, does such a good job of kind of foreshadowing and like doing a lot of character work that kind of exemplifies this crisis of faith that he's going through.
yeah.
He grew up in a world that was like pretty much like, fight for yourself and only watch out for those that, that care for you. He really only cared about his sister for so long, but his contact with Pike and her faith like leads him to kind of seek out his own path. Obviously not with the Everlight, Saren Ray, with Pike, but like maybe with this mysterious woman that we see.
Okay. No, she definitely is very intriguing, and it's I guess for me it's just it reminds me of, which makes no sense why it reminds me of this. Remember like the old school Mortal Kombat games how you would see like Ed Boon come out when you do like a special move and it'd be like whoopee for like
Yeah.
a second, you know? It's
Yeah,
almost
yeah.
like they're just showing you like these split-second things. So that one's kind of cool. And I think this is also from there they end up I guess going to, is it the Slayer's Take? Is that the other group?
Yeah, it's a
Um
Hunter's Guild.
yeah, they end up going there, which is it's kind of neat because you almost see Grog. Obviously, he goes his own little way because his sword keeps talking to him, and we'll go to Grog in a minute because I think his whole thing that happens in this episode is dope.
Yeah.
But you kind of almost see, in a weird way, almost like a mirror image of their little adventurers like campaign. You know, like they have their tank, their talkative ones. They're a strong female leader. Who was she's a tiefling, right?
Yeah, Tiefling.
Okay.
Zara.
Yeah. So what did I guess from when they interacted with them, the part that confused me more than anything was, so they were all kind of, for better lack of terms, in, kind of like in charge of that bar area.
Mhm.
But then they got almost what's the person that they had to go see? Oh crap.
OCC, the
Yes,
patron.
the patron. So is the Patreon kind of like their, for, but like, is it not their deity, but it's like their boss at the end of the day?
Yeah, it's the person that makes sure that they have missions to follow. They're the ones who kind of dictate who goes to what, and they're the ones who basically ensures the longevity of the guild and like ensures that they keep getting work and stuff like that.
Ah, got you. Okay. Yeah, because I
And they
thought,
might even provide them with resources because
oh, okay.
this is a spoiler thing. So their OCC is like a what's called a gynosphinx or a female sphinx.
Did you say no?
So yeah, they might have like some access to magical items or magical knowledge that members of the Slayer's Take may not have.
Oh, okay. So that, okay, that's kind of cool then. Yeah, because that was the like I obviously understood how powerful she was or how important she was, but it just kind of threw me off how, I don't understand like her hierarchy of it. Um, so and before I go, because before they fell, which I thought was hilarious, was the dude in the wheelchair.
Yeah.
As soon as the fight starts, he gets
Pops
little
out them
blades.
blades.
Yeah, popping out of the wheelchair, which
Yeah.
it's just it was such a neat little, little touch to it. So in terms of when she is testing out, I guess all the people from Vox Machina, is there I guess for better lack of terms, is there a reason that she instantly almost understood all their weaknesses, or is that just part of who she is and part of her, I guess, powers? Because it almost felt like as soon as they fell into, her little dungeon, it almost felt like it was like a magical place where she just controlled everything.
Yeah, that's definitely an expansion of a Sphinx's power, even if we're taking into account like lair actions and stuff like that. If we're talking about D&D mechanically
Yeah.
speaking, there's definitely some artistic license here because Sphinxes in general are kind of mysterious, and part of their lore is that they're kind of all-knowing. They love riddles and knowledge and stuff like that. So the idea that this Sphinx would know who Vox Machina is, know things about them that they would think are hidden to most people, kind of it's thematically accurate with what a Sphinx is and what a
Okay.
Sphinx can do.
No, because that I thought that part was super cool. And how she's basically just separating all them, testing them, and it wasn't until at the end of it, it was God, I always butcher all their names. Pike. Just kind of like stands up to her and almost like showing that they are worthy. And once that happened, it was like, cool, you get the green light.
Yeah.
Um, but what I thought was interesting while all that was happening, poor Grog basically
Yeah.
was getting demolished. And it was the old guy's name was Earthbreaker. Shoot, I didn't get the third part.
It's Groon or Rune. It's something like that.
It was he basically put Grog in his place. So who is this dude, and are we gonna see more of him? I guess is my first question, because he was awesome.
Oh yeah, yeah. The Earthbreaker serves as a very large part of Grog's development as both a warrior and a character in the original campaign. So be ready to see him at least one more time. I like they're doing a lot of stuff to kind of compress some of the storytelling in terms of what happens in Vasselheim. And to be honest, I think it's just really good writing in terms of like keeping what's important to advance the characters.
Yeah.
I know I am 99% certain that we'll see Earthbreaker Rune again, if nothing else, but for Grog to come back with the answer as to where his strength comes from.
Okay. No, that's all. Yeah, because it was neat seeing him just it almost, and this is another video game reference. It's like a Street Fighter, like Ryu rolling up to like Akuma, and
Yeah,
Akuma just like destroying him.
yeah,
It was neat. So obviously from there which I thought was kind of neat when and I'm gonna jump back to the rest of the Vox team when they left, which was kind of cool. Because something when you do play D&D that you get ever so often is inspiration. And I thought it
yeah.
was neat how Pike, walking out, she's like, maybe we got something better, which was inspiration. Now, obviously, they never brought that into season one. Now, is that something, I guess, just from your thought process, do you think there's a way? Because I know it when you play D&D, you use inspirations in certain ways, like you're able to like re-roll a dice or something like that. Do you think they'll be able to use that in this cartoon, or do you think that's just a way of throwing more like fan service of like, haha, like
My
inspiration?
my assumption is that it is kind of a wink at the mechanic of inspiration.
Okay.
However, I could easily see them writing it in kind of where they might feel like they are kind of beaten, but they'll remember some of the stuff that the Sphinx tells them, and it will kind of fire them up to try again. And that might be maybe not the exact way inspiration works in the game, but it will serve a similar function in the storytelling.
Okay.
I wanted to jump back to when Grog first splits off from the group, because he goes to look for food because he hears a voice that just says like hunger.
Yes.
And that is, again, foreshadowing, if not like full reference to something that's going to be affecting Grog moving forward. We saw this for a split second during the fight with the Earthbreaker, where Grog is so in his rage that he's unable to take apart this old man. Albeit this old man is crazy jacked, like way more jacked than any old man can really be. But he's getting so frustrated that he can't beat him that he takes out the great sword that he pulled off of Silas Briarwood, and he tries to attack the monk, and the monk just straight up grabs it out of the air. So and you see the blood that comes from the wound gets sucked up into the blade and pumped Grog up.
So my, and this is just me throwing it out there. So because he got it from realistically a vampire, is this sword, for better lack of terms, when it says hungry, it's basically saying it needs blood to feed it? Is that what I'm kind of, and you don't have to say yes or no. I see you nodding your head, so I'm going to go with I deciphered that, because that was something that I thought was really neat, because as soon as he caught the blade, you just kind of see, like, you see blood around his hand, but it just kind of gets sucked into almost like little veins into the sword itself, which was kind of neat. And he did call it, he called it a dark, what was it? It wasn't
dark weapon.
Yeah, dark weapon, yeah. Okay, so that's going to actually be...
If you also looked beyond the sword sucking it up into itself, Grog's arm gets crazy jacked.
Oh, I didn't I'm gonna have to watch that again. I did not catch that.
And that's, I mean, I only saw it because, again, I'm aware of the mechanics behind this. I believe it's a homebrew weapon that Matt Mercer came up with in the confines of the first campaign. But the mechanics behind that sword are really fun, and I'm looking forward to see how they depict that in the show, for sure.
Okay. Oh, that's kind of okay. I'm excited for that. Yeah, because that was one thing that I wrote it down and I forgot to ask, because when he grabbed the sword, that was neat. But I also found it how it didn't faze him at all. Like,
no,
the old man, like he was just like, child's play.
If we're looking at this dude, if we're going to talk about it, within the confines of D&D mechanics, Earthbreaker is probably level 20 plus monk at this point.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so he basically is undestructible at that point, with 800 hits per turn.
Oh yeah, I'm very excited to see more of him.
Oh, see, okay, so that gets me psyched. So then from all this, we kind of end the episode with Percy going into a blacksmith shop asking for black powder, and we get kind of the haha moment tying back up to Ripley, who I guess came there earlier.
Yup.
So I'm excited to see how she will get kind of not tangled up back into this kind of campaign, but it'll be neat to see how she gets fitted back in here, because it almost seems like she's, I don't want to say a step ahead, but it's weird why she's there, or why she was there, and I hopefully they go into that in the next couple, next episode or next couple episodes, and I hope it's not just one of those just keeping the character alive for a while longer type of thing.
They're very good about just kind of foreshadowing and reminding you, hey, this person is still out in the world, they're still doing stuff, you should check it. You want to keep that in the front of your head kind of stuff. They're very good about that. that black powder salesman and the Earthbreaker, when we saw that they were going to Vasselheim, those two characters actually are the two I was looking forward to the most seeing.
Oh,
And the fact that I got to see them this episode was like, oh, thank you guys.
oh, see
I know
that.
you're not doing it for me specifically, but I'm into it, and I thank you for doing that.
No, that's awesome. So is I'm hoping the blacksmith will end up seeing more of him because it's interesting because I feel there's like certain like merchant owners that kind of like have come into this and they only have very few lines, but they become so memorable and like you just want to see them more and more wherever they're on screen. Like they kind of just like take it away. The
Yeah,
blacksmith dude
absolutely.
just looks so crazy to me that I'm like, yeah, I need to see this dude a little bit more.
Matt Mercer is so good at creating these super memorable NPCs for little things. Like they're just like that guy is just selling black powder.
Yeah.
What is his name? Sean Gilmore, the merchant from Iman. He's super memorable. Yeah, there's just so many great NPCs in this campaign / show. It's so great. We should also talk that they, beyond the inspiration that they have from the Sphinx, she also gives them a direction to go. She tells them about the vestiges of divergence, which are tools, weapons, magical items that were created at the time of the calamity, which is kind of like the big event that happens in Tal'Dorei. In the mythos of Matt Mercer's world, the calamity is basically the big event where it's like it's either everything came before it or everything comes after it. It's like the dividing line in the timeline.
Oh, okay.
And basically during the calamity, it's like the gods basically that used to have direct influence on the physical world of Tal'Dorei retreat behind a kind of a divine wall. And these vestiges of divergence were the tools that were used to do that. So if these things are strong enough to help you battle gods, hopefully they will be strong enough to help you battle dragons.
Ah, that's neat. So that's why she was mentioning how there's a couple of them kind of hidden, basically, or just left there for someone to find.
And this is like the most like gamey part of the episode, I would say, because they're like, here is your objective. And once you get there, you will be able to learn the objective of where the next one is and stuff like that.
So, okay. So that makes me super stoked to see episode 3 and see where this goes. So I guess just final thoughts, what were your thoughts of this episode? Are you looking forward to episode 3, 4, 5, kind of like the rest of them? Because I know at least for me, like this show just hooks me. Like I don't know what it is. It's all the characters are great. They're so well developed, and I think it's like it's one of these things where they're short enough where you really want to bench through these things. And I know like and we've played D&D before. It's like I guarantee you this episode was probably like weeks of campaigning.
Yeah.
So it's just like it blows my mind away because I'm just like, man, they're able to shrink down weeks of stuff into like a 25-minute episode, which is phenomenal. But what are your thoughts so far of this season and where it's going and how they're doing it?
Like I said, I love that, just like that they're able to pepper in all of the NPCs that I came to love. Zara and Cash are really great. Cash is voiced by Will Friedle, Corey's older brother from Boy Meets World, or in the voice acting world, he is the voice of Terry McGinnis from Batman Beyond.
Okay.
Yeah, so hearing him voice his own, because he was a special guest in the campaign, and Cash was his character. So him voicing it is, and also the voice actress who was Zara's player also is doing her voice. Like the fact that like for those of you who are only coming to this just because it's a great animated television show, Critical Role, the show that the game, the campaign that these shows are based on, is run by a bunch of voice actors who are just playing D&D. And so all of the people that come and play are either voice actors or like people in the gaming community. So it's just really fun to see them all participate in this show as well.
See, and I think something that I find kind of neat is that they've been able to bring back all these people per se, because it's neat like hearing you talk about certain voice actors that you remember seeing when they were doing like Critical Role, and now you're able to, I guess, kind of see them in their not their true element, but like in what they do, which is voice acting, and all that. So that is kind of neat. Well, yeah, guys, that I don't want to keep harping on this one, but episode 2 in the books. So far, still 2 big old thumbs up on this show. Continue, holding it down right here. Mike and I are going to be. If you guys have any questions throughout any of the series, please make sure to drop a comment down here. We'll be kind of going through it, especially because I know I'll be butchering and messing stuff up left and right, especially when it comes to the actual like Critical Role stuff and the story. So feel free and correct me. Feel free and high five Mike for his knowledge, because I know that's what's going to end up happening. But on that note, guys, we will definitely see you next time. And this is Jorge from Team JVS and Mike, and we'll see you in episode 3. Peace.